How's it going, everybody? I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for clicking on the ham radio crash course. Last week, I kind of did an introduction of the Xiegu X6100. This was a pre-production or first production model. I'm not using the term prototype because Radiotti told me it was a pre-production model. Well, they sent me the production model. This is the unit that you're all getting if you pre-ordered the X6100. So the question is, from last week's video with this radio to this week's video with this week's radio, did Xiegu go
and totally redeem yourself?
Or do we have more to talk about? Well, we still got a lot to talk about, but I've got a lot of good news. Let's get started. So last week we had a couple of issues that I found with the 6100 in its pre-production state. There were some apps that were missing. We had some issues with the battery inside of it for the internal power that it provides. It was self-discharging. And then we also had some problems accessing it via the USB-C port that is on the radio. Also, there's a compact flash card, etc., etc. I can safely say today that it's all working now.
Actually, we don't have an answer yet on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. That's something listed on the website. It's a feature for the 6100, and I don't see the setting to change that. That being said, I think that's like the only thing that's on the bulleted list that I can't really get working at this point to some level. More to come.
It's working as well as can be expected from what you saw in that first video. Audio quality, radio performance, all that stuff is still the same. I have been able to connect this to my computer, though, and did a couple of whisper tests and some WSJTX tests, just running 40 meters on my home antenna. So far, the results are good. So let's go back to the tabletop, and I'll show you what is now working in the place of what we kind of just had to speculate on. The good news is it's there. At least it's something we can talk about. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the final release 6100, X6100. You can note that it's got more stickers on the back now. Now the FCC sticker is here, this serial number sticker, and a void if damage sticker. This is where the back plate screws in. I don't know if I showed that the last time, but there you go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to start it up without any power supply connected. We're going to see if we've got that battery drain problem. This was sent to me 2 days ago, and I've been charging it and playing around with it a little bit. No connector. You noted that boot screen, and now we're in. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, we are going to go to radio settings, and I'm going to turn the charger off. Many of you commented on the charger being on as potentially being what was causing the voltage to drop. So we're going to add that off, and we're going to check the voltage right now. All right, we've got a friendly Bioenno battery off screen here connected to our little power meter, and we're going to connect. Much better reading. Do you see that? 0.29 amps on draw. So yes, the charger was absolutely skewing this against the 6100 when I was first playing around with it. So hopefully you can see that. But yeah, we've got a draw of, it's fluctuating between 0.28, 0.31 amps on draw with the charger off. Now if I go back in, and let's change that to on, and we're going to start seeing the voltage climb, but not going to that 0.8 something amps. It's only 0.56. So even on charge, recharging the internal battery, it's 0.54. And that's likely because this battery is fully charged that it's not drawing so much. So FYI on that. One problem, good to go. The draw is much better than I thought. Okay, so next item was the power output when you're keying down. I was told don't use AM, use something like FM. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to flip over to a dummy load. All right, now, so on a dummy load, we're going to go to FM. Going to go narrow FM here, and we're going to hit transmit. 134 amp draw on transmit at 5 watts power. Crank that up to 10. And it's 1.65 amps on, 1.7 amp draw on 10 watt output. Okay, now on to a power output meter here, SWR power meter. Going to key up. We're on 40 meters FM. Got about two 2 watts, 1.5 watt output, up to 10 on a battery, and right at 9.5, 9 watts output. So the good news is that power output wise, the 3 buttons here, you got AM, FM, CW, and single sideband for modes. Turns out that when you're in AM, FM, you're only really going to get 2 watts out, and I did verify that in multiple instances with my power meter. You do get 5 watts out on the internal battery, and it is about 4.5, 5 watts on when it's completely fully charged. That is working. I was able to test that kind of just by getting on a dummy load and kind of whistling into the microphone. I know that's not the best way of doing it, but it worked. All right, so here's we're on CW mode right now on 40 meters. We got a pretty good signal. I hit the app button. You can see modem, SWR scan, and now voice call is here. If we go to modem, I've got this in the mode of CW. We can go BPSK, RIDI, or we can do CW. And you can see it starts to try and do a word per minute poll, but it's saying 100 and something, 160, 180. That's not right. So when I click AFC off and on, see it kind of like kicks it into thinking that it wants to do something. This words per minute go up. To be honest, I've never really had a great time with CW decode anyway on radios, regardless of them being Xiegu or not. But that's just me. Anyway. You now have 2 little menu clicks, menu 1 and menu 2. When you go to menu 2, you can hit exit. So cool. SWR scan will go in there and take a live scan of your antenna. We're extremely low right now on this antenna, so it's going to go through the whole thing, and you're going to see it drop way down. Now, the problem I have with this, after playing around with it for a little bit, and I want to make sure you guys see this, it's the range. This range is too big. I appreciate there's maybe people who want to get close at, they're like 10 to 1 SWR, and they want to see the gradual improvement. I'd like to see this have it just like 1 through 3 being the largest, and then 4 through 10 being smaller. I want the scale to be bigger at the bottom here, because when I get down to here where my antenna is resonant, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know, is that 1 to 1? Is that what I'm looking at? Probably not. So there's something, it's not exactly how it works. I think we can change the span here. Oh, we can. So I don't want 5,000. 1,000 hertz is as far as you can go down, which also I'm a little nonplussed by. You can see it counting through the frequencies, which is okay. I mean, for field work, this is fine, right? I would prefer the gross adjustments with better range of the 705 than this, but at the same time, it's nice that it's there, right? Okay, voice call. Okay, so now if we had an SD card installed on the side here, we'd be able to play a voice message, and maybe I'll do that right now. All right, I have installed a CF card, and it sticks out a little proud. See that? Sticks out a little bit. No big deal. So let's get out of this. Go back to system. Oh, hey, look at it. System memory works now. We got time, firmware upgrade, and factory reset, and then exit. Okay, let's exit out of there. We're not going to mess with the channel, but just, I didn't show you the last time. If you just hit VFO, say VFO, there you go. Erase memo, tag, mark, you can do all kinds of stuff. Okay. Message. Okay, you can keyboard in stuff now. Keyboard, hey, look at that. That's cool. So if we go to high, that works. There you go. Okay. Cool. Save it, exit. Aha. Oh. Interesting. Oh, Jesus. Test. Okay.
CQ, CQ, CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. CQ, Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. All right, so then now we just set this. So if we go back to app, go to voice call, that has an 8-second message now. Let's put it back on the dummy load. Lower sideband, here's my message. That again. A little off here. I've got my 7610 picking it up. I'm gonna dial back the power. Go down to, oh, look at that, how far can we go? 1/10 of a watt. Here we go. That was pretty good. All right, something I screwed up on, and I realized it after I was screwing around with the radio after the video was uploaded. If you go back, so let's just bring up the general. So you got the radio settings, etc., system settings. If you go to key, you get 5 options. And if you click key again, you see a little 2 and then QSK time. So if we increase that, let's go to 200 milliseconds. Ideally, that should hold the relays open. And yes, shout out to Sterling for correcting me on key clicks, what key clicks are. Anyway, with that corrected now, we should, there we go. So not bad, that's much better. Ooh. Much better, and we could probably go a step further and bump that up a little bit more, maybe 150. Oh. Not bad. Okay, so that's that better. That is better than anyway with the relays. Key clicking, that's something that I would have to we'd have to do another complete set of testing for that. I'll save that for somebody else to do. But yes, thank you, Sterling, again. So from the onset, looking at this radio in its current form with this release firmware, I think we've got many of the issues that I had sorted out. We picked up all the apps. They're working. I don't personally like the SWR scan, but that's fixable. And again, that's me being kind of picky. Like, yes, if it's below 3, I'm happy. If it's below 2, I'm even happier. And if it's in the 1s, that's great. That's generally what I aim for with resonant antennas, but still. Filtering wise, let me put this. Okay, so there is a filter for CW. 2 is even tighter. We didn't look at this before. 150 is super tight. So let's go back to, let's see what happens when I change to lower sideband. Lower sideband, 2700, 2400, 1800. So 2400 is about what I normally leave it at when I'm using radios. So pretty good. Okay, so there's the filtering. People asked about that. As far as the speaker goes, yeah, I can see it's a little tinny. But, you know, front-firing speaker, again, small radio, it's going to be on the tinnier side, right? I mean, it's not that big. I got a challenge coin around here somewhere. So this signal core challenge coin is pretty much covers up the speaker. So it's not very big to give you kind of an idea. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the mic. I got a lot of questions about the mic, what it does, you know, what you're getting when you order this radio. So when you use... wait a second. I gotta tell you, I didn't expect that. Oh, there you go. So now you can type in, so 7... Wait, this is upside down, sorry. Interesting. Okay.
There's your filtering. Modes. Not doing anything. F1 doesn't do anything. This is not working, this up and down arrow. That was the first thing I thought would work. It's supposed to just go up through the frequencies. Maybe Am I not pushing it hard enough? No, the light's going on. And then the tuner button's not working, so if let me hit the tuner on. Tuner's on. Nothing. So there's some buttons that aren't working with this right now, out of the gate. Just to make sure I'm doubly sure, I grabbed the other mic. So that was the retail one. This is the other one. Those, in case I didn't mention it, there is a radio 2 settings where you can set RIT, XIT for CW, split on or off, and then, ooh, there it is. Nice. I like that. I don't know if it's supposed to make that noise or not, but it sounds good. That's the IQ out. So that, out of the back here, there is... Wait, where is the IQ? IQ out's over here. And so that, hypothetically, if it works the same way as the G90 or the X6100, then you can actually just get audio out that you can plug into a computer and get visual display like via a SDR software. So that's good. And then last but not least, a lot of people ask, when you shut it off, what's it look like? Well, because they're looking for Linux. There's a little cursor up there. Do you see it? You see the cursor? Is it gone? Let's turn it back on. And you see it? Let's do that again. Right there. See it? So there is a cursor of some kind, so it is running something. What it is, I have no idea. I really don't know. It seems to be working in that it is loading something. Let's do it again. Watch right here. Right there. See it? Good. Okay. And let's just pull that power cord, and we'll set a timer. It's 9:22 p.m. So I'll start the timer right now, and we'll let it run for a while. Now, there was many people who said this LED is gonna discharge the radio faster. I mean, sure, it is a load, but I think I'm just gonna leave it on for this test. So, starting the timer, 9:22 p.m. Let's go. While we're doing this test, I'll run you through one more thing. Let's go to the backlight level. Backlight is totally off right now. And can you... Yeah, it's on. It's just really hard to see. There's some numbers right here, but this is on. There's just no backlight. Oh boy, don't get stuck in that mode. That's 1. That's 2. And then we'll go all the way up to its max, which is 10. Pretty bright. I gotta tell you, I can't see much of a difference between 6, 7 is noticeable. Once you get above 8, there's not a lot more to it. And default is 5, so that's where we're going to leave this. Okay.
During this time lapse, I managed to completely fill my SD card, so I don't know exactly how long the radio sat in receive mode, but it's safe to say 4 hours is easily achievable. We went beyond 4 hours just about on this time lapse. And so 5 hours possible. You can see the battery's pretty close to dead, and if you were transmitting, obviously the transmitting is going to decrease the battery life faster. So just a heads up, couldn't actually get the golden moment, but then we kind of get an idea of how much it's got in there.
Now, a couple of notes. The USB Dig, I noticed that if you have cat control on your radio, like WSJTX, and you tell it to go into Dig mode, or USB mode, it's just going to default. The radio flips over, likely because of the application, flips it back into just USB mode. The problem with that is then it uses the front mic. It will pick up your voice if you're talking, or if it's a very windy area or loud ambient noise, you are going to pick that up and put it out over digital modes if you're using WSJTX or something like that. Not all digital applications are going to do this. I found that was the case with this radio though, so keep that in mind. With that said, it worked fine on WSJTX. And I will be posting a follow-on video to this that shows how to set it up, because it's actually not exactly intuitive as you expect. There are a couple of bumps in the road to setting this up appropriately. Okay, so the 6100, where do I sit on it? How do I feel about it? It is definitely the spiritual successor to the X6100, which is a radio I own. Is it the same radio, just upgraded with new capabilities? No. It is not the same radio. It's got physical controls, you know, you've got knobs and different buttons layout than the X5100, but it is obviously the upgrade to that radio. So if you were in the market for something like that, you're probably going to be well suited going with the 6100 over the 5105. Inevitably, everybody wants me to give you my opinion on, is this radio in the same league as the KX2 and the IC705? And the answer is kind of. Up front, in the terms of radio performance, particularly on the receive side, I don't believe it is as good as either the IC705 or the KX2, and by comparison, you could throw the KX3 into that lot as well. I don't have a lot of time with it though, so someone is going to have to get one and do longer testing with it. But right up front, just comparing the audio quality alone of all the radios, it is a harsher radio on the ear. In many respects, the folks that want a KX2 are going to still be well served with a KX2, and to me, the 6100 doesn't really feel like so much of a competitor to the KX2, but more of a direct competitor to the 705. I don't know if anybody else feels this way. The feature sets line up a lot closer with the 6100 and the 705, and to me, the 6100 kind of feels like the memes when, you know, Mom, I want, you know, fruit roll-ups. Mom says, we have fruit roll-ups at home, and you get the meme with fruit roll-ups at home. This kind of feels like that for the 705. It is a cheaper radio. It's like half the price. So is it half as capable? Maybe, possibly. More time will tell, but that's kind of how it feels to me, just off of the limited time I've had to use it. Appreciate this is not a hard and fast review because I'm not keeping this radio. It's going off to the next person to take a look at. But those are my thoughts as I've had it for a couple of weeks, both the pre-production model and now the final model. Now, in terms of trying to be as fair as possible, the Xiegu has a built-in tuner. The 705 doesn't. If that's a big deal for you, well, you probably end up with a 705 or a KX2. To me, though, it's kind of an interesting discussion point at that point, where if you are in the market for the 6100, then you might also find yourself looking at the G90. You get the tuner and the 10 more watts of power. So it's kind of an interesting call, a tough call, and really only one that you can answer. Hopefully, if you watch the last two videos, by the way, the features that I talked about in the first video that are there in the pre-production model function the same in the model that I have in front of me, the production release model. So you get a full picture of kind of what's in the radio at that point. The good news is that there is going to be a ton of people making videos on this radio and using this radio on the field because it is priced to sell, and a lot of people are going to buy it and make a lot of YouTube videos. So I do expect to see more videos with ideas and different implementations of the features that are in this radio because I think I only really scratched the surface on some of them. So it should be fun when we see what other people bring up. Anyway, I am Josh, KI6NAZ. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and click the thumbs up, and if this is your first time watching, click subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for watching. 73. Oh, so that was it the whole time. The battery was dead. Okay.